Chicken Race, Diary of a Running Chicken, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child, narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Bryn is a little zombie, a kid zombie. He lives in a town full of zombies. But despite this strange location, he is still unique because he is the only one who rides a chicken every day. He is a chicken racer. When the chicken race begins, he finds himself stuck on a chicken that won't stop running. Scary. Listen to the adventures of Bryn and his chicken, Chick Norris, who end up in the middle of nowhere and have to battle beasts, follow a friend's guidelines, and make it home in time for the next race. A fun, engaging diary by a chicken racer. Chapter 1. The Chicken Race. Hi, my name is Bryn. It's like Brian, but not really. I am a chicken racer. You may wonder what that is. Well, let me explain. I ride a chicken all day, and, actually, yep, that's basically it. I am a zombie. I live in Zombieville. It's a peaceful town full of zombies. If you didn't know already, zombies are a little strange. They walk awkwardly, and they aren't always sure of what they are doing. But I considered myself quite intelligent, especially compared to some others. Not all the zombies in the village were chicken racers. In fact, none of them were. I never saw another one, so I was the only one. I was a zombie kid, meaning that I was one of the few hundred children in the village. Our parents would occasionally go harass the humans in surrounding villages. They were about 1 hour away from ours, and the zombie parents always liked attacking them. The kids never did any of that stuff. They were always assigned a babysitter or some else, usually a female zombie, a mom, that would make sure that they wouldn't go anywhere. But I was into something else. I liked racing. I would race on my chicken from one place to another, and in that aspect I was very unique, at least in Zombieville. "Where are you going this time?" some kids would ask me. "Don't know yet. I'm just going to run around," I would respond. "Aren't you tired of riding that chicken?" a girl asked one day. "No," I said. "I love it, and I will never get enough of it." But I didn't know that one day this answer would come back to haunt me. There are limits to everything. It's dumb to just do one thing in your life and focus on that. Sooner or later, you'll be fed up with it. And that's the simple truth. For me, that time came when they organized a race. It was a sunny day, a beautiful day to go for another chicken ride. I got out of bed, hopped onto my chicken, and headed out the front door. By the way, my zombie parents allowed me to keep the chicken in the house, as long as I would clean up its droppings. I called the chicken Chick Norris, because I had heard a similar name being mentioned somewhere. Chick Norris and I had seen all the corners of that town, but we never really left the village in order to remain safe. So on that sunny day, I went outside and saw some zombie kids staring at me. Side note, it's not uncommon for zombie children to stare a lot anyway, but this time they were particularly interested in me and my chicken. "What's happening?" I asked. "There is a race," one of the zombie boys said. "It's a chicken race, and I think they are looking for you." "Okay," I said. "Where is it?" "Up on the hill," the little boy said. "Thanks." As fast as I could, I made my chicken go up the hill. I was curious about who would organize a chicken race. When I came to the top of the hill, a lot of zombies from the village were gathered there. I saw chickens in cages with zombies feeding them. One of the zombies was putting up red tape, and others were carving lines in the sand. Zombie children, fathers, and mothers were on bleachers, waiting for the big event to happen. "Bryn," my mom said, who was already up there, "I am glad you could make it. We are almost ready to begin the race. Are you going to participate or not?" "Of course," I said. "Where can I register?" She pointed me into the right direction, and I rode to the table with the judges and the registration desk. "Name?" they asked. "It's Bryn," I said. "How do you spell that?" "Brynn," I said, spelling out my name. "Okay, name of your chicken?" they asked. "Chick Norris." They spelled it the right way, so I didn't need to explain. Then they said, "You can be in the race. Please step off your chicken." Oh, I said, a little disappointed. I thought I was going to stay on during the race. What? No, that's not how it works. The chickens race against each other. There are no riders. But I want it, I said. I don't want to be separated from my chick Norris. Can I do it this way, please? They looked at each other. Then one of the zombies said, You will only slow your chicken down. Are you sure you want to do this? Because we will not be responsible for the fact that you'll lose. Big time. You're lots heavier than the other chickens. I will manage. Can I have your permission, please? All right, one of the judges said. Stay on your chicken. You will be the exception. Thank you, I said. Then I went to the starting line. This was where my adventure would begin. Chapter 2, Unstoppable. The chickens were lined up. They were on leashes. Their owners were holding on to them until the sign would be given, the sign that they were ready to let go. I was a little nervous. What if they were right? I would make a fool out of myself by losing and being so much slower. But I didn't want to let Chick Norris go alone. I cared about the chicken's safety. It had been my pal for a long time. I looked at the other chickens. They were full of energy, prepared to compete against each other and against me. The crowd cheered. Well, it was more like moaning, which is what zombies always do. But at least they made some noise, which encouraged me to try a little harder. Ready? A zombie announced. Set, go! The owners all let go of their chickens, which sped off towards the finish line on the other end of town. But something happened that I didn't expect. You see, I had never compared my chicken to the other ones, so its sudden takeoff was a complete surprise to me. Chick Norris zoofed past the other chickens with great speed. Whoosh! I felt the wind in my face. We were way faster than they were. Within minutes, we passed all the homes and streets, with more zombies cheering the way zombies do, moaning, witnessing the race and hoping for the best contestant to win. There it was, the finish line. I was almost there, and I was going to be the first one to get there. Almost. I won! Finished! I heard one of the zombies with a flag on the side shout. I won! My chicken and I won the chicken race! Okay, Chick Norris, you can stop now, I said, since she was still running. But she didn't listen. She kept running and didn't stop. It was becoming a little crazy, a little scary. Stop, Chick Norris! Stop already! I shouted. Nothing changed. She kept going and going, even out of town. I couldn't stop my chicken, and I didn't want to jump off either. Otherwise, where would it go? I wouldn't be able to follow her. So I stayed on, and we ran through the hills, the forest, and around the lake. We were far away from home, and I was screaming all the way. Stop! 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 Chick Norris didn't stop. It was as if something had scared her, but I had no idea what that could have been. I was feeling scared. We were so far from home that I had started to doubt if we could even find our way back. It was a disaster. My chicken had become unstoppable. Chapter 3, Creature. Several miles outside of my hometown, Chick Norris finally stopped. She was exhausted and fell over. I fell off and sat down on the grass. My chicken was breathing heavily, unable to move. Why did you panic? I asked. Of course, my chicken couldn't say anything except for typical chicken sounds, and since I didn't speak the chicken language, I had no idea what those sounds meant. But I was hoping for some kind of sign or indication that would help me understand her. There wasn't any. Too bad. Well, shall we go back? I asked. She stopped panting and breathed normally again. Are you ready to go? I asked. She let me hop on and we rode back, but we didn't exactly go into the same direction. We were lost. If only I had paid more attention, I could have pinpointed my location better, but it was too late for that now. All I could do was to estimate and go off of certain recognizable features in the landscape. There, I said. Let's go over there. We rode towards the sun, which was what I thought was correct. After a while, we saw some ruins from an old building. It was in the middle of nowhere, but it looked like some people or zombies had previously lived here. I was curious, so I went inside with my speedy chicken. I inspected everything, from the decorated carpets on the ground with mold on them to the sidewalls that were halfway destroyed. It was definitely ancient, and my imagination went wild about knights, victorious zombies, and beautiful decaying zombie women. Ah, the imaginations of a child, a zombie child that is. There is no limit. Suddenly a sound from the distance startled me. What was that? I looked around the corner of one of the walls and saw a big brown bear approach the broken edifice. Where would I go? It was coming straight at me. Come on, Chick Norris, I said. Let's hide. Chapter 4. Cornered. We were shaking and shivering out of fear. The brown bear that had sensed our scent or seen us move was really close now. I heard its footsteps. It was a big, really big bear. I don't want to be bear dinner, I whispered to my chicken. Stay quiet. Maybe it will just leave us alone and go away. Chick Norris didn't make a sound, but it wasn't enough to keep the bear away. It came closer and closer, sniffing and sensing our distance. I was certain that this animal was fairly hungry, looking for something to eat. I don't know how good zombie flesh tastes, but I knew for a fact that it would at least eat my chicken if it would find us. All of a sudden, the bear jumped in front of us. "Roar!" it exclaimed. I stepped back, still riding my chicken. We were slowly going backwards as the bear came closer and closer. The corner of the ruins kept us from escaping. What were we going to do? The bear was extremely close now, and there were only a few feet between us and the monstrous predator. The bear showed its razor-sharp teeth and equally fierce claws. Yep, it was definitely going to eat us. We were doomed. "Help!" I yelled. "Help me! We are going to be eaten by a bear!" We heard other footsteps. They were soft and light. They weren't the bear's footsteps, so perhaps someone was coming to help us. But who? Chapter 5. Help on the Way. I was incredibly curious about whose footsteps were behind the bear's, and I was about to find out. When the bear came closer, I suddenly heard, "Come and get me, ugly animal!" The bear turned around. Behind him, there was another chicken racer, another little boy zombie riding a chicken. Wow, I thought I was the only zombie kid who did that. But apparently there were others, maybe just not from my village. "Are you afraid, or are you going to go after me?" the zombie boy said, taunting the humongous predator. Without hesitating, the bear ran after the chicken racer, who was as fast as I had been during the race. He zigzagged between the walls and rooms of the ruins, with the bear chasing after him. They disappeared. I wondered where they had gone. However, abruptly, out of the blue, I heard the chicken racer's voice say, "Hey you, whatever your name is, if you could climb on that tower and wait for my signal, that would be really helpful." "Okay," I said, knowing which tower he was talking about, since there was only one real tower. "Come on, Chick Norris, let's help him out. He helped us, so let's finish this." Riding my chicken, I hopped from one rock to another and reached the top within seconds. And before I could question his methods, I knew why he had asked me to do so. On the edge, there was an enormous boulder that was about to fall. All it needed was a little push. I could already see this rock crush the bear, so I waited for his signal. Nothing came. The bear roared in the distance, but still no chicken racer. It happened fast, and I was glad that I stayed sharp, that I paid attention at the right moment. "Now!" the chicken racer yelled, coming out of nowhere. I didn't see a bear, but I obeyed blindly. I pushed as hard as I could until the boulder fell off the edge. I didn't see where the bear was, but I did hear a painful sound somewhere beneath the tower. It sounded like a bear who died. At least that was my best guess. I hopped down from rock to rock again and came to the base ground. There, the chicken racer was triumphantly standing on the boulder and the crushed bear. I was relieved to see that we survived, and that the danger was gone.
"Good job," he said. "My name is Peter. What's yours?"
"Bryn," I said.
"Bryn? That's an unusual name. What is the name of your chicken?"
"Chick Norris," I replied.
"Ha! I like it," he said. "Mine is called Chick-fil-A. I know, it's not original, but I just picked it. Where are you from?"
"From Zombieville," I said. "I am lost. My chicken went crazy and it didn't stop running."
"Oh, I've had that problem before," Peter said. "It was probably just startled by something or someone, and then it panicked. Chickens are pretty sensitive animals, you know."
"Yes, so I've noticed," I said. "Where are you from?"
"I am from another zombie village a few miles north from here, but I know my way around. I've been on these plains and in these woods so many times, I know them all by heart."
"Good. Then you can take me home, can't you?"
"That's exactly what I was going to do, Bryn. Let's not waste any more time here."
Chapter 6. Finding the Way Back. Peter knew where to go, and I noticed that within minutes.
"Go left here,"
he would say, and
"No, not that way. That will take you to the humans."
I was happy to have such an experienced guide with me. We hit the plains. It was an endless field of grass and emptiness. I didn't remember going through there, but he assured me that it was just a shortcut.
"Zombieville, wasn't it?" he asked.
Yes, that's right. Now I remember. Don't worry, we are still heading into the correct direction.
How do you know where we're going if it all looks the same? I asked, a little suspicious.
Ah, but it doesn't all look the same, he answered. See the sun? Since it is already afternoon, the sun tells us what is north, south, west, and east. Besides, the grass is changing. See? The grass on this side has different weeds growing between them. That tells us that we're going to a lower altitude and are getting closer to your hometown.
Wow, where did you learn all that stuff?
Let's just say that I never stayed home a lot, Peter said.
Then he turned around and said,
Hey, what's that? Uh-oh, I think we're in trouble.
He pointed at some dots in the distance. They were getting bigger within seconds. What are those? I asked.
I think they're explosive monsters, he said laconically. We should keep going.
But as we turned our heads, we saw the other monsters come from the other side too. And then we saw them come from another direction, and another. 4 different directions, 4 groups of dots that were coming closer.
Have you ever seen those kinds of monsters before? Peter asked.
No, I admitted. What do they do?
They don't particularly like zombies, and I think they picked up on our location. Trust me, I've handled them before. But I have a plan.
What shall we do?
First, you have to realize that we are a lot faster than they are. Our chickens are super duper quick, so use that to your advantage. Second, these monsters will just keep running until they explode.
But they're coming from everywhere. Where will we go?
Through them, Peter said, squinting his eyes. Get ready.
I anticipated the arrival of the green explosive monsters. We chose a side and decided to go through that group of monsters. I quickly looked behind me, and to the left, and to the right. They were so close. There were dozens of them.
Now,
Peter yelled, as he sped forward and maneuvered his way through the monsters in front of him. I followed his moves in the exact manner I thought I should. Left, right, left, another left, right. We both evaded at least 20 or 30 monsters and made it out of there alive.
Keep running, he shouted. They're going to explode.
I went as fast as possible, hitting my chicken with my feet a little to crank up her speed. As we sprinted out of there, we heard the loudest sound we had ever heard. Boom! We stopped and looked back. It was a gigantic explosion caused by the collision of the more than 100 monsters that had been running at us from 4 different directions.
Would you look at that, Peter said. I've seen some monsters explode, but nothing compares to this.
Very impressive, I admitted. I am just glad we weren't in there. Those monsters are crazy.
Yes, they are. That's why I usually avoid them altogether, but this time they found us.
Let's hope we don't bump into more of them.
Yes, let's hope so. Chapter 7. Home.
It's not much further, Peter said. We're almost there.
Good, I said. I am eager to go home. We both traveled for another hour or so. The plains made way for a lush landscape of green hills, which I easily and instantly recognized.
There it is, I said. There is Zombieville. Thanks, Peter. You're welcome, he said. Can you find your way from here?
Well, yes, but it would be fun if you could stay over, even if it were just for one night. What do you think?
Let me think,
he said, and within 2 seconds he continued.
I've decided. Let's do it. I'll come for 1 day, but no longer. My zombie parents will be worried about me, okay?
Yes, that makes sense, I said. Let's go, Chick Norris. We are almost home. We ran towards the outskirts of the village and saw the cute little zombie homes that I was so familiar with. However, when Peter saw a dog, he stopped.
That's scary, he said. Don't let your chicken go near that dog or she will panic again.
Huh, interesting, I said. This dog is right next to the finish line. I wonder if that dog is the reason why my chicken panicked in the first place.
That's probably it, Bryn. I wouldn't doubt it.
He followed me to my home, and my zombie parents were delighted to meet him. They were happy that I was back, and they told me about the race the next morning.
Race?
What race? I asked. There will be another race, again, with chickens, my mom said. But this time there will be different chickens. It's like the second round or something. Do you think you can participate again? Yes, but this time I don't want to get lost, I said. Is it the same route? I think so, my mom said. Let's find out tomorrow. We stayed up a little longer, and eventually we went to bed. Chick Norris was glad to be back at our house as well, and I noticed she was going in circles, happier than ever. Chapter 8. The Next Chicken Race. When I woke up the next morning, I immediately went to the same top of the hill next to the village. The racing chickens were in cages. They were different chickens with different owners than the ones I previously raced against. Peter followed me as well. The registration table was in the same spot.
Ah, Bryn, one of the judges said. It was unfortunate that you were gone. We were going to give you a medal for winning. Do you want it now? I can give it to you.
Actually, I began, I was wondering if I could be in this race as well.
No problem, the judge said. You were amazing out there. Just make sure you hit the brakes on that chicken of yours before you get lost again.
Oh, I am sure I will manage this time, I said.
How about me? Peter asked. Can I be in the race with my chicken too?
Are you from Zombieville? The judge asked.
No, but I am a zombie.
I can see that, but officially only the inhabitants from Zombieville are allowed to register.
Peter looked sad. Then the judge leaned forward and whispered,
But we aren't very official anyway, so just put your name and your chicken's name there at the bottom and you're good to go.
Thank you, sir, Peter said politely.
Get ready, boys. We are about to start.
The race almost started. I looked at Peter and he looked at me. Who was going to win this time? I was certain I could outrun the chickens on leashes, since a chicken racer is so much faster anyway. But could my chicken outrun Peter's? That was the question.
Ready, set, go,
the announcer shouted. We took off, the chickens, Peter, and me. We ran faster and faster, so fast that the dust from the sandy streets blew everywhere. The crowds were cheering, Reed moaning, like zombies do. And then the most important moment of the race came. The location where the dog was had to be avoided. I made Chick Norris stop and go through an alleyway on the right. Come on, Chick Norris, we can do this, I said. With me on her back, she ran to the right, then to the left, and eventually she took another left. When we came around the corner, we went right and we were back on track. I looked behind me. The dog was there, but my chicken hadn't seen it. Then I looked in front of me and saw Peter crossing the finish line before me. Finish, the zombie on the side said when I crossed the line as well. Hey, I said to Peter, How did you get past the dog?
Oh, didn't I tell you? I trained my chicken to not be scared of dogs anymore. You should try it. It really works.
Oh, I said, almost saying something bad in anger. Then I thought of the fact that winning wasn't the most important thing in life, and I patted Peter on the back. Well done, I said. You should teach me how to do that.
Of course I will, Peter said. But you have to promise to come visit me in my hometown then.
I will, I said. That sounds like fun. Shortly after our little conversation, we both received a medal. I got one for the day before that, and Peter got one for that same day. My parents were proud of me. We were both champions, chicken champions, and I don't think I have to mention that we celebrated afterwards. The end. This has been Chicken Race, Diary of a Running Chicken, Adventure Stories for Kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.